And good morning and welcome to Touch Base Daily. And hello, everyone. It is Wisdom Wednesday. And you know what we do on Wisdom Wednesday? We talk to our amazing photographers and all those people that impact the photography industry and all of we photographers. They drop the wisdom. So today we have Jason Little coming on in a little bit, but I just want to greet everyone and say hello. Hello, Kelly A is in the building. What's going on? And Anthony is in the building. He says, good morning. Chris Edwards is in the building. Touch Base Daily family. What's going on? Yes, I'm sure the information is getting out there into the world that we are on, and all the notifications are going out, and people will just trickle in. And but we're not going to stay long. We're not going to talk about news today, as much news as there is, but tomorrow Chris and I will be talking about news. So tune in tomorrow for all the latest headlines that we'll be talking about tomorrow. And there are so many, but I'm so tempted, but I will not do it. I will not do it. Jason is in the studio, so I'm gonna wait. I'll wait and wait till tomorrow. Oh, there's so much news to talk about. I'm salivating. What's going on, Derek? Good morning. West Coast is in the building. How are you? Let's see who's in the Instagram world. Okay, Instagram folks, if you are in Instagram, you need to come on over to our Touch Base Daily on YouTube. Make the change, swap over, come on over to our YouTube channel. You will have a better experience. Just put in the YouTube Touch Base Daily and it will just pop on up. You can put it in Google and it'll pop on up, and just come on over to our YouTube channel. And when you're here, subscribe and like if you end up liking this show. Okay, anyway, so I see some of you guys in Instagram world. Come on over to YouTube. You'll be able to work. You can put it on your big screen. You can put it on your laptop. You can put it on your tablet. You can put it on the wall. Anyway, come on over. Hey, my son is in the building. Mr. Adrian, what's going on? Good morning, fam. And see, he waited just like any guest would. This weekend was my son's birthday. Adrian's birthday. I will not tell you his numbers, but it was his birthday. so give him a happy birthday, Mr. Adrian Florence. He had I tried to check in on him, but he was so busy. I couldn't reach out. I couldn't get him. But I think I might have been the first person to wish him a happy birthday for his birthday, because I was waiting to 12:01, and I said, happy birthday. Anyway, well, you know what? Let me tell you who we have on today. Today, we have Jason Little on. And let me just kind of we're going to talk about his pictures and all that good stuff. But I want you to see the quality of his work. But I'll tell you, I still can't remember how I met Jason. I think I'm not sure if it was at an exhibition or we were both in an exhibition together. I can't remember. However, I know once I was turned on to his page, I follow everything he does. He puts out stories every day. I click on all his stories. He writes, Ron is always here. Ron is always here clicking on these stories. Because he really does have an amazing view of the world. And as a photographer, our eyes as photographers is to be the eyes about what's going on to the world. And as photographers, we freeze that stuff. And but Jason has an incredible body of work. And let me just kind of give you a little leeway as I'm talking about him. And then I'm gonna have him come onto the screen. Come onto the platform. And so this is some of his work. Beautiful work. And I know I fell in love with his work. I first was introduced to his work because of the Black Lives Matter protests. And so I think we were all out in the streets, but I came across his work and I was like, wow. But he does so much more than just protest photography. I think he shies away from the name documentarian, but he is an amazing documentarian. He documents everything. He's a photographer that doesn't have a genre. He's like myself. We like to shoot what we love. And so anyway, you're seeing his work. We're going to talk more about it. We're going to go to talk about the stories behind his photos. But anyway, without any further ado, it is Mr. Jason D. Little. Welcome to the platform, sir.
Rod, how are you? How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me back for the second
Yes.
time. Appreciate it. Feel very honored.
We're a little more sophisticated now since the
Yeah, I
last time you
see.
were
I
here.
see. I see. Still had
Yes.
a little glitch coming on, but I got it figured out.
You figured it out. But I'm so glad you're here. And so Jason is, like I said, he's so cool. And so Jace, what's going on in your world these days? And then we're gonna start asking you questions about all kinds of stuff.
I mean the usual. It's nothing new, nothing out of the ordinary. I just stay. If I leave home, there's a camera with me, and whatever happens, and hopefully I can catch it. You know.
So there are a couple of questions we like to ask our guests. One is, if you were stranded on an island, what food item must you have?
Oh man.
For me, it's pizza. It will always be pizza. But what is it for you, sir? Deep thought, right?
Yeah, but I'm gonna have to say bagels.
Bagels. What
Yeah,
kind of bagel?
any, but if I can have like a little addition to that, cream cheese. Like they have to go together. So I'm gonna have to have both of these together.
Uh, now I do love bagels.
Yeah,
When I was in college. College began my bagel years because I was what we call a poor student, meaning
yeah,
financially poor,
yeah.
dirt poor, and I would have grilled bagels and grilled cheese sandwiches. When I would go to the cafeteria, they always saw wrong with the grilled cheese bagel or the grilled
Okay.
cheese sandwich. So, well, that's how we do it. So, also, I have another question for you. Share 3 fun facts about you. What does, cause I see you online a lot and people see you online a lot. What are 3 things that people don't know about you that you will be willing to share?
Oh, that's. I mean, the fun sides of me I tend to share online. I mean, if you've seen my stories, know me pretty well. I mean, I love I love Marvel movies. I'm a Wu-Tang fanatic. And maybe people didn't know I love bagels. Yeah, that might be something too. So I,
I didn't know you love bagels,
yeah,
so that's one. So I know next time we hang out, we're going to a bagel shop.
yeah, they're perfect. That's all we need.
And what so here now we're going into your story. Tell us about your career journey. How did you start? When was the first moment you picked up a camera and said, I I like this thing and I'm going to do this. This is going to be my thing. I'm going to be a photographer.
Yeah, it was at some point during my college years. When I had a little point and shoot, some Olympus. I don't remember the model, but um, I took a shot that I really liked it enough to make a small print of it, and I would look at it and think I could do this. you know. And it wasn't really my first time with the camera. I had sort of just played around with shooting, ever since I was a kid, I would have my aunt's Polaroid and, just waste film, and but at that point, I felt like I can do this. I want to do this, and you know, I upgraded. I got my first like real camera, this Canon Rebel. I don't know, some Canon Rebel, and I had like one lens, and I taught myself how to use it. And after that, it was just it was straight ahead. Learning everything that I could. I was absorbing information from books and online communities and all these sorts of things, and you know just put
Wow.
my head down and went all in.
What was your first favorite genre? Like you said, you know what? I am like when I first started photography, my first thing was travel. Well,
Mhm,
no, I take it back. It was photographing. I was the church photographer.
mhm,
So at my adopted dad's church, I would be the photographer for all the outings and all the the get-togethers, the choir tours, and all that stuff. And I would photograph, you know, any and everything. And
mhm,
that's how I really got my start with my little Pentax camera.
mhm,
And what was and that became my genre because that's what I did all the time.
mhm.
What was your first genre that you did all the time and then you started to advance to something else?
It was macro.
Say that
Yeah, I
again?
macro
Oh,
photography.
macro.
Yeah, I just wanted to, and maybe it was my science brain, taking over, but I wanted to see how anything and everything looked very close up, looked magnified. I wanted a photograph of the most common object, and I wanted to see the tiniest detail that I could. And yeah, I mean, from flowers to m- you know insects. I was putting everything, under a macro lens and shooting it. And then I just expanded out of that and went to the wider world.
What was your favorite bug to photograph? Your favorite insect?
Hmm. I don't know. I feel like for some reason I shot beetles a lot.
Beetles,
I don't know, but I think I did more flowers than insects.
flowers.
Yeah.
Any particular flower you would go
No, I
after?
just anything I saw. I wanted to see it in as much detail as possible.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're the I see this whole community, everyone that visits here is a nerd.
Yeah.
We are what
Right.
the
Right.
this is the nerd gathering.
Yeah.
Maybe we should call it instead of touch base daily, the nerd gathering. But, so then what when you after you went from macro, you know, micro photography and photographing all, the small things in life, what what was your next genre? What and how
I
did you
shot
move
some
from small things to the next thing?
just I won't say boredom, but just not being satisfied with staying in one place.
Mhm.
So yeah, there's so much more to see. So I was like, well, let me try this, let me try that. So I did sports and events and um just random portraits. If it was family gathering or something like that, I would do that. And
Mhm.
and so that's sort of how um my fascination with photographing people set
Yes.
in. And so I mean, really, that's where I'm at now. Even my street photography, it it's about the city, but it's just as much about the people, their expressions, their emotions, whatever I can catch of them and how they interact with the city.
Wow. How long you been how I mean, if you calculate the time, how long have you been photographing? I mean, from beginning to now?
um uh pushing pushing 20 years.
20 years.
Yeah.
Woo, that's a good time.
Yeah.
That's some years, 2
Yeah.
decades.
Yeah.
Um, so now you've moved from the little things in life to family to just things photographing people and objects around you. Um, you're a film photographer,
Mostly,
correct?
yeah, yeah. The majority is film. I do shoot
And
digital, but
what made you decide to do? I mean, you're a pretty young dude,
yeah.
and why wouldn't you, go with the easy thing, the digital? What made you decide to go with the film?
Maybe because it was hard.
Mm,
When I started, of course I started on digital, but I would look through books and I would see all these amazing photographs and I love this so much and I love it and I would think about the things that I saw online,
mm,
what people were doing. And it was good stuff. It was nice. I learned from it. But the books, the things that I saw in books from the 1950s and the 60s and the 70s, just like they held something magical for me. And I'm
mm,
like, all this stuff is on film, right? Digital didn't exist for them, you know? And I wanted to be like that. I wanted to emulate those photos, not necessarily the subject or whatever, but like um the emotion they could convey, that aesthetic that they conveyed also,
mhm,
And I was like, this is done on film. And I just wanted to learn how to do it. And I did it and it wasn't great the first time and
mhm,
wasn't great the second time or the third time. But eventually, I got the hang of it, and it's just a process that I really enjoy, and
mm,
then eventually I started to develop my own film, So for
mm,
me, it's it's the whole process, start to finish. I load that roll of film and I'm responsible, right? Exposure to load it properly, the whole night, right?
mhm,
I have to take it out, develop it, scan it, so when something goes well, it's really, really satisfying, you know.
mm.
And if it goes wrong, there's nobody to blame but yourself. So I can't blame the lab or whatever because I scared. I did all that. So it's I just love the process.
When did you learn how to, I know when I was in school, my first introduction into film and lab, I was in junior high school.
Mm.
And then I was like, "I don't like the smell. The smell is horrible." And, but I wanted to take pictures, but I was like,
Mm.
"The smell is horrible." So, how did you fall in love with the process of using the chemicals and taking that photo and putting it in the pan and letting it,
It
move it a little bit and kind of like
just
move it and shift it
I
and
mean
then kind of
the
like you're
first time
editing while it's in the water or
the
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 solution.
the first time I did it, the first time I developed the role, it was just and I pulled the negatives out and there's stuff there, right? And
Mhm.
that was it. It was I was hooked. It didn't take any deep thought. There was no philosophy behind this. Like this is it. I have to keep doing this. That's it.
How
And I kept doing it.
did you d and you carved out a space in your home? Your parents like, "Oh, what's going on, Jason?" You well,
Well, no,
did
I've done
you
this more recently, and
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Gotcha.
so the way I do it is very minimal, minimalistic. It doesn't take a lot of space, so it's just a matter of being efficient, with all your chemicals and the equipment you use,
Mhm.
and yeah, it's a bit of an addiction, I can't not shoot film at this point.
Wow, wow. Like I said, I remember in junior high school, that was like, "Ah, no." But, I mean, I would say, like, once I took the picture with my camera, I would immediately send it to the drugstore
Right,
and get
right.
excited about going to the drugstore and like, "Oh my gosh, my photos are gonna be
Yeah,
I'm gonna have them next week."
yeah,
You know? And you get, like, excited about it.
yeah.
But I remember also in junior high school, we were in class and we were using the solution. We were in a dark room and the red light was on, and I remember someone busting in into the room, and
Right.
all the students were like, "No,"
Yeah,
'cause
yeah, yeah,
our pictures were not going to
yeah,
be right because of
yeah.
the
There's a
light.
lot that can go wrong with film, but
So, you say exactly. There's a lot that can go right. I mean, go right or go wrong
right, both. Yeah,
in film, because there's so many layers to the
Hmm.
process
Yeah.
and that you are involved in versus digital or you
Yeah.
click on you
Right.
photograph it, you click
Right.
it, and then you send it out and it's done.
Exactly. You're done. Yeah.
Yeah, so okay, so we're gonna uh, so you ended up, I mean, all of the photographers seem like in New York City were on the streets doing Black Lives Matter.
Hmm.
You were out a lot during that time.
Hmm.
And being a film photographer, what were the challenges of photographing the protests, the expressions, moving, changing of light, change shadows, situation becoming accelerated because it was getting dangerous because a lot of people moving in one direction or
Hmm.
the police. Because some of your photos you encounter, and we're going to look at some of those photos. How does a film photographer, how is it different from the digital? I know digital we can click, 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 and then delete along the way.
Hmm.
But when you are a film photographer, you are very intentional.
Yes.
How does
Um,
that work?
for me, like you said, everything is moving fast, and you have to be aware of your surroundings at every second. And but the challenges really aren't, in general, they're not any different, right, from anything else. But at some point you have to be aware of where you are on your frame, so you can change roles, right?
Mhm,
So so when I'm shooting film, that was the only difference. Oh, I'm at the end of the roll. Let me make sure I have another roll with me. I have to take this one out, make sure it's wound properly, put the next one in, make sure I load it properly. And of course, I think you have to be a little more aware of your exposure and things like that than you would with a digital. Um, but other than that, I have to be in the moment,
mhm.
which
Hold on a
is.
second. Boy, keep going. I'm gonna just close my
Yeah,
window.
no, I'm just saying that's true no matter what, whether you're shooting film or digital. So you just have to be in the moment.
This picture right here. What's the story going? What's going on here in this picture?
Okay, so this was, at the moment I don't remember what specifically it was in response to. I remember there was a police incident that had happened recently. I think it was in Rochester. Um, and so this is near City Hall, and it was late. People had come together. It ended up being a bit of a standoff, and this guy right here, was like, "I'm tired. I've been here for so many hours. I'm gonna eat." He set out. You see he's surrounded. Police on either side of him, and it was a defiant moment. He said, "I'm not moving.
Mhm.
I'm gonna eat. You're here. You're not gonna eat. You're gonna watch me eat." and so it was just a moment of defiance, and you know, that's where I
I
was.
love this picture. I love the way it's framed. I love the way you have the protesters in the background, and they're all lined up. I love the way the balance is in this photo. You got these two New York PD. You see the strategic response group, and then this gentleman with his plate of food and kind of like antagonizing them. Looks like he's like,
Yes, yeah,
it's something. It's one of those moments when you're a photographer, your eyes are just moving and roaming through what's going on especially in a protest.
yeah,
And you were able to seek this out, and it landed in front of you
yeah,
with purpose.
yeah. And
Man,
yeah, I saw it, and my eyes got big, and I was like, "Yes, that's it. There it is."
wow, I'm gonna show another one. Hold on a second, because not only do you do here's I'm gonna give you another protest one that was really cool to me. These for those that these some of these are from his website, and here's another one. I love this shot.
Yeah, this
This shot
was
is beautiful.
yeah, we were actually uptown. We were headed across the George Washington Bridge that day
Wow.
into into Jersey.
How do I'm looking at this, the framing again is so beautiful. What goes into your mind as you're framing this kind of shot?
Just I'm just thinking of how to portray the energy that I'm feeling,
Mhm,
you know. How can I best convey what I have in my head, what I'm seeing
mhm.
to a still frame, you know. And so hands matter even when you don't see an entire face as you see, his is cut off here. I think his hand, his gesture helps tell the story.
Yeah. I mean, I love the way, it's almost like they're in a delta formation.
Mhm.
And so, I look at the angles and how it just he's right there, and then it layers back. You see the 2 female protesters next to him
Mhm.
with their bullhorns, and then it layers back to the back where you see people with their signs and their hands
Yes.
up as well.
Yeah.
It's like this repetition is in the frame,
Mhm.
hands up, bullhorns. It's a beautiful photo.
Thank you.
But you don't just only do protests. You do. Let's go to there was one that's really cool. What here it is. This is one of these moments. What's going on here, sir?
It was, I don't know, you know what, when it gets foggy, if I see this, heavy fog come over the city, I'm probably going outside. It's
Mm,
in the story. So I'm gonna go and I mean the city just looks and feels a certain way with this blanket of fog around it. And so I went down to the seaport, and there weren't a lot of people out. I guess everybody was just, sort of staying indoors on this really what they would say an ugly day, but for me it wasn't an ugly day. And I went out and I just saw this couple. I think they were tourists. I think I remember them looking at a map or something, but this moment they just sort of touched their heads together, and I guess they were trying to figure out where to go or how to get there. And you know, that was the shot for me.
yeah, I am like lazy on cloudy days. I'm like, but it is one of the days that photographers love to hit the streets
Hmm.
is when, especially street photographers and those that live in an urban setting. It's the inclement days, the days where there's a lot of fog, or the
Hmm.
streets are covered totally wet because of a major rain, or there's a storm going on, and someone, you just kind of like want to catch people with the umbrellas and the wind and the fighting against the elements is something that we photographers are drawn to.
Yes.
I You can always tell folks that are street photographers and that love their trade of being street photographers and documenting life as life goes on,
Hmm.
in an everyday sense. But we go and grab our cameras in these moments, and someone that may not be as experienced in photography, they will say, "Oh my gosh, the sky is blue. It's a beautiful day out to
Yeah.
go take a photo."
Yeah.
And most photographers are like, "What?"
No, right, right, right.
Because the beauty of photography is the elements.
Yes, I agree.
What are some of the other elements that you love that draw you out into the streets to photograph? Because you are a street photographer, you're a documentarian, you share, you take photographs of events and things that are happening, but you primarily love to hit the streets and just do
Hmm.
your thing. What elements in the weather draw you out besides the fog?
Besides the fog, that's number one for me. I love that. But rain, snow, I love the snow.
Speaking
Um,
of snow,
so yeah,
lovely shot.
thank you. Yeah, if it's snowing, I'm going outside. That's again not a question. So yeah, I don't really look for a beautiful day. You
Mm,
know, I want to go out when people are like, "Oh, it's so ugly out," or whatever. That's like I'm kind of drawn to that. It adds something to your photo.
I say, Paro says, I'm inspired to shoot in the fog this spring. I love fig. She meant fog. There it goes. Fog. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, I love the fog. I think it's something mysterious about the fog.
yeah.
Something very mysterious. We're gonna go through some warrior photos here. We can talk about some of these guys. Here's another. Do you Which do you like photographing more? Black and white or color?
When it comes down to a black and white,
Mhm.
I will, sort of instinctively reach for a roll of black and white.
Mm,
But I love color too, and there are definitely, you know, scenarios where I do prefer color.
mhm.
But overall, if color film just went out of existence today, I'd be all right.
You'll be okay.
Yeah.
So what's going on here? This gentleman, is this a pose shot or is this,
No, this
just
is a
in the
shot. This
moment?
is former NBA player Amari Stoudemire, and
Mhm.
this is shot near his home in Brooklyn. And a friend and I were just doing some fashion lifestyle shots for him. And this is a shot of him walking across the street. I think this was, I don't know, maybe the fourth or fifth outfit we had done that day.
Wow. So you do fashion photography as well?
I wouldn't call myself that, but it was just something we did. It was very casual.
Here's an interesting photo. This is obvious some kind of protest.
Yeah, it was a climate protest
This is
at
climate.
Rockefeller Center.
Okay. And wow, were you planning to go to this event
Yeah,
or you
this is
stumbled
something I
across
was
it?
asked to do. The organizers wanted, someone that first of all they were familiar with, and someone who had, some discretion in their shots, because it was really a low key thing in the beginning. They didn't want
Mhm.
to attract too much attention on the way, and but they wanted someone to document it. So it was myself and maybe two other photographers who shot this.
This is a beautiful shot. Beautiful. And, isn't it? Now I do see, like, I'm gonna run to your color shots. What's going on here? And I see a couple of these shots here. Is this an event
Yeah,
that
this
you
is
were
an event for Netflix. They had a show, Bridgerton, and they just did this sort of fantasy, you know, thing where people could come dressed like the characters from the show, dance, and it was a bit of a performance that was in the theme of the Bridgerton show.
and, was this the same event or is
Yeah,
this
that's the same.
another
That's part of it. Yeah.
event? I love, we event photo we who like to take photos of events, catching these emotions. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're really cool.
even when the lighting's not great, or whatever else is not working to your favor, if you can
Yeah,
capture emotions, you have a shot.
and still you're using a
For this,
film?
for this, no, not this.
Okay, digital.
This is
Okay,
yeah, this is digital.
okay. I was like, "Ooh." And also moments like this. What's going on here? What
Yeah,
causes?
this couple from, think they were from Norway, if I remember
Mhm.
correctly, and they came on vacation. The guy reached out to me, said he wanted to propose on the bridge, and we got lucky. I told him, the Brooklyn Bridge is going to be crazy. There're going to be
It's
people in your
packed.
shot, whatever. And he was
Yes.
like, yeah, okay. He was cool with it. but we got lucky and, really got what shocked me was, a relatively clear shot, like this. And, he was very happy with it.
Love it. This is like a summer day in New York.
Yeah.
And what's it? Here's sports.
Oh yeah, just, I shoot a few times a year. I'll shoot the marathon. So we have the half marathon and then the full New York City marathon. And
Hmm.
so this guy, he's a friend of a friend, and
Hmm.
he's running it. And so I just took a moment to, you know, shoot him with his finishing medal.
Well, let's see here. And I love this shot. It's so beautiful.
Thank you.
What's going on here?
So this is sort of a pre-wedding shots for this
Mhm.
couple. They wanted to do something in Central Park, and they told me how they'd be dressed.
Mhm.
Um, and I said, okay, this is a medium format film. And the day it was a little brighter than I wanted to be, but the day overall worked out beautifully. Their dress, their outfits were amazing, and the colors were amazing, and they were amazing. So it was
I
um
I
it was a
love
good set.
Indian culture. I
Yeah.
love Indian because their culture is such everything about Indian culture is so full of color.
Hmm.
It's the colors are so brilliant. Like they just celebrated this week Holi on Sunday
Yes.
and
Yeah.
Monday. And it's just a colorful culture where I not to say other cultures aren't, but they really have these amazing outfits and
Hmm.
um yeah, that's just full of so much what call it dynamics to it.
Yes. Yeah.
Flowing colors, layers. The gentlemen wear such layered clothes as well. So
Yeah.
one of my favorite things. Um, do you do wedding photos?
Um, not no, the wedding. That's not my thing. This was something I did with a friend, and it was something. We said, okay, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it on film, and it was just sort of a challenge we undertook.
I love this
Generally
shot.
happy with the results, but yeah, we got some good stuff out of it. But no, this is not my normal, my normal thing.
And this one is shot on film.
Yes. Yeah.
And we're just gonna go through some of these. If you tell me to stop on any one you want to share, I mean, your photos are just so cool. I mean, look at this one. I think you might have to step into the wedding
I don't-
arena.
See, this one was different because this couple, they came from England, and they just sort of eloped. This was after
Kinda eloped.
their city hall wedding, right? So it wasn't
Ah,
a traditional thing. Now I do city hall weddings pretty frequently. Like I'm okay with
okay.
that because it's just me and the couple. Sometimes they have a couple family members there, but it's
Mhm.
easy because we just shoot and then we go out on the street and shoot some more, and everybody's in a good mood, having fun, and there's not all the stress of 200 people and the meals and right, and so
Oh, yeah, I
this
know.
sort of thing I do all the time.
Now that's an interesting genre. I don't think there's you don't see too many advertisements of city
Mhm.
hall wedding photographer.
Right.
That would be a good genre to create probably.
Yeah. Yeah. I do it pretty often.
Wow. I would I've never done a city hall wedding. No, 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 I've never done a city hall wedding. Here's another one. I love these. Again, another protest.
Mm.
What's going on here, sir?
This was during the Masa Amini.
It says help Iranian.
Yes. Um and so I think this one took place in front of the New York Times building.
Hmm.
Um a lot of heightened emotions as usual. It was different because it was compact. It
Mhm,
was this sort of took place all on one sidewalk.
mhm.
Which is, that presents a certain challenge because you're not moving around, and but um you still have to find a certain energy. You have to look,
Wow.
a bit harder, and it's a bit more contained. But
What is it that you look when you are looking for the shot? What are you looking for to make I mean, this is it again, these shots you are obviously emotions, but is there anything that, like, cues you, gives you a cue to, like, you know what? I need to linger here. I need to photograph this. Something's gonna come out of this moment. What what are some cues that you look at?
um there's no one specific thing. I For me, it's just, I guess, because I've done it so much, I've gotten to the point where I can see somebody and feel like, oh, okay, this person is very vocal. This is sort of a leader, or this is, somebody who has something to say. And you just have to wait for that moment to come.
Mhm.
I think you'll sort of feel it coming. And, during that time, before you get to that point, I'm just filming, photographing the surroundings, you know.
Yeah,
Um, and of course, you always stumble upon something unexpected in the process.
yeah,
This is one of the things, about situations like that is that they can be unpredictable, so you have to always be ready, you know. So the person that you may be waiting for, yeah, that's going to happen, but there's something good going on around them too.
wow. I mean, like I said, you when you anytime you post, I just I mean, you post a lot of different, you post about uh political um situations that are going on in the world. You also photograph all these different events, different people, different cultures. Um, if you were to go back to your 15-year-old self, what would you tell yourself about your career as a photographer?
Um, I would say to myself, be patient. Like,
Mm,
um, because I think that people, this is probably the result of internet culture, Instagram culture, whatever. But people have this sense that you'll take one good photo and all of a sudden you'll be on magazine covers. Everybody, the whole world will be talking about you, and this and that. But you have to develop what you're doing. You have to develop your vision. You have to develop how you want to tell your story, how you want to present your work, and these things like that. You don't just take one good shot and end up on Ron Foster's show. This is a process. And so stick with it, and don't let anybody talk you out of it if that's what really matters to you.
mm,
And yeah, just have the courage to be patient with that whole process because it can be long.
yeah, this is very true. Also, who are some of your who are the photographers that inspire you?
Oh, I'm gonna the same two I always throw out: Gordon Parks, Elliot Erwitt, two of my
Mhm.
favorites. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
have you been to the Gordon Parks exhibition on the West Side yet?
no, I haven't yet.
Born
Yeah,
Black.
I've heard about it, but I haven't. Yeah.
We'll be there on Saturday. So if you
Okay.
want to join us, we'll be there Saturday from 2 to 4. So we'll be hanging out there. But also, here's another question. What is in the future for you and your business? What do you plan to what is your, when you think about what you've accomplished in the past, the magazines, all the people that, your photos have been in lots of publications and you've done lots of exhibitions. Um, where do you see yourself in the future? When you look at your timeline 5 years from now, what would you want to have accomplished between now and 5 years in a perfect
Um,
world?
in a perfect world, just more visibility, not just for myself, but for um, things that I care about. You know, the things that I photograph. You know, in terms of causes, movements. You know, whether it's for climate or immigration or whatever the case may be. Um, 'Cause it's never enough as far as I'm concerned. You know. Um, and I do enjoy the city hall weddings because they're easy, not easy. They're easier than a traditional wedding, but easy in the sense that they're laid back, and I interact with people,
Hmm.
in a way that I wouldn't be able to in a bigger situation, you
Yes.
know, and like I really love that, because I meet people from everywhere in the world, they all come to New York, and they want to get married here or whatever, and for a day or whatever the case may be, they tell me this, I'm part of their family now, sometimes I'm their witness, and
Yeah.
so I love that, and so more of that.
Wow. Well, man, this was great. I'm so glad you joined. I'm so glad you accepted the invitation to come
Oh,
on.
of course, whatever 10 months from now, whatever the next one is, I'll accept it every time.
It is always good to have you. And just again, your work is just so beautiful. And I would just encourage you to continue doing what you do. And it's just exciting to watch what you come up with. And like I said, I'm one of your biggest fans on
Thank
watching your
you.
stories and listen to some of the politicals. We're gonna have to have you on for a political day with Kristen.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be a very, very different conversation.
That's a different conversation, but you have some really good views and you really are not afraid to express what you're passionate for. And I think
Yeah.
that is another plus. And I think it also plays into your photography because you're not afraid to tackle some of the subjects that are, that can
Hmm.
alienate you as a photographer,
Yeah.
but you still tackle it anyway.
Mhm.
And you still make your ideas or your feelings of felt how you feel about them public and you
Mhm.
share it. So
Mhm.
thank you for being who you are, Jason. You are the man, Mr. Jason D.
Thank
Little,
you.
guys. If you have any questions, you got 5 minutes to give this gentleman some questions. If you have them, just put a Q before your question, so that way we know it's a question. So put a Q before your question, and then we're gonna sum it up because oh, and just so people know that this is also going to be replayed on the Indie Soup Network. So usually at 4 o'clock, you'll see that. So we're live right now, but you'll see the recording of this on Indie Soup. That would be on Indie Soup Network at 4 o'clock at the later on. So check that out, and also check out all of the amazing Indie Soup folks. I see a question. Here's a cat. I love this way. Yeah, there we go. We found the way. Q. Here's a question. Gordon Parks, and who was the other person who inspired you?
Oh, Elliot Erwitt.
Elliot
Erwitt.
Erwitt.
Yeah, another New York City photographer who shot the city. He had a sense of humor in his photos. It was very sometimes lighthearted work. Just so good.
Nice. Any other questions out there? I see some hands. I see some applause. I see some hearts. Yeah, if you enjoyed this conversation, please hit the like. And also, if you're here for the first time, you can also subscribe if you have not subscribed to this channel yet. And also stay tuned for all that we do online here. Okay. Oh, she's website. Yeah, let's give you this. He says, what's the she said, Miss Kim, he says, what's your website? Let's do that. Let me get that to the folks. Thank you for that reminder. Let me see here. There we go. His website right there. So get that, take that down. So if you want to go to his page, he also sells calendars. He sells his prints. So if you go to his page, you will see his store. So, but this is his webpage right here, his website. So get that. Also, he is also on IG, Instagram. That's his handle. And well, I wanted to go into this conversation. I forgot to talk about this handle. I wanted to know the history behind it, but we'll do that next time.
All right.
Oh, we got a moment. How did you come up with this handle?
Okay, so halides are part of the chemical makeup of a roll of film, right?
Ah,
Yeah. Um, the crystal halides on film, and then it's nerdy. So we always talked about being nerds, right? And so for me, as somebody who you see out on the street all the time, sort of putting in the effort to use film, it takes a little extra effort. That's my hustle. So that's halide hustle.
gotcha. I was like, how did he come up with that name? And Paro says, what made you start selling prints? Is it a worthy stream of passive income?
Yeah, I had people asking for them. It's not something, it wasn't a vanity project or anything. It's just I had people saying, "Oh, can I buy a print?" I was like, "Oh, yeah, sure." And it was just kind of a thing. It's not a huge earner. I think people, I don't know. It's a very specific and I think relatively small market, in terms of prints. And I'm of course there are some people who do it, on a grand scale, but um yeah, anything that I, sell is helpful.
Nice. So again, I always say when folks say, how can we support this gentleman? How can we support this young lady? The best way you can support photographers and creatives is to purchase their stuff, purchase their work, encourage them, share, talk about them, share their work. That's the best way you can support. Okay. I think we got all the questions. I think so. I think so. And Paula says, "Oh, brilliant name." And she says, "Nice." And
Thank
guys,
you.
again, Jason, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you,
Um,
Ron. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Man, I appreciate you. I appreciate what you do, and like I said, keep doing what you do and encouraging we other photographers that you inspire us as well. So
Thank you.
thank you for your inspiration and thank you for always being there. And again, thank you for coming out.
Thank you for having me again.
Cool. So guys, I'm gonna let Jason go and I'm gonna give you some announcements and then we're out of here. Okay, so Jason, thank you again. See you
Thank
later,
you.
sir. So again, this Saturday we have our meetup. If you have not gone to our meetup on the Meetup app, our Meetup apps is la 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 Meetup. It'll be said Touch Base Daily. That's our page on the Meetup app, and you can sign up for this weekend. We will be at the Gordon Parks exhibition, so you can get all the details from there. And we're gonna have a lot of fun tomorrow. Sorry, on Saturday. And then if you are in New York City, it is Easter Sunday. I will be, obviously, every Easter Sunday, I photograph the bonnet parade on Fifth Avenue. And if you want to connect with me and you want to join me on Fifth Avenue, some of the folks from my meetup group will be going. I think Frank, who is one of our members, he's going to be leading that effort. But I will be there. I will be out there in the streets photographing every year. There's nothing more beautiful in New York City than the Easter Bonnet Parade and watching all the people that come out in New York City. So come on out on Sunday for the Sunday the 31st. And then Saturday is our meetup, and we'll be at the gallery on the west side for the Gordon Parks exhibition called Born Black. So that's going to be a whole lot of fun. I love Gordon Parks. He's such an inspiration to me, inspiration to what I do. I love his work and one of my inspirations. Okay, I think that's it. I think it's time to let you guys go. Guys, again, thank you for showing up. If it's your first time here, click on subscribe, like if you enjoyed this today. We had an amazing guest, our wonderful Jason D. Little. So, guys, thank you, and I'll see you tomorrow.